Hey everyone, welcome back. Get ready, because today we're diving deep into some seriously motivating ideas. And it's all about taking control of your life in 2025.
Sounds exciting. I'm ready to dive in.
Yeah, this piece we found called Stop Being a Spectator.
Yeah.
It really grabbed my attention, especially right now, just a few weeks into January.
Oh, I know what you mean.
It's so easy to get caught up in all the New Year's hype, make a bunch of resolutions, but then what? Like,
Right.
how do we actually make those changes last? That's what we're digging into today.
I think a lot of people are probably struggling with that right now, so I'm curious to hear what this piece has to say.
Me too. And honestly, what I love about this article is that it doesn't mess around with vague inspiration. It just lays it all out there, doesn't it?
It really does. It goes straight to the core issue, saying, the life you're living. Well, it's the sum total of all the choices you've made up to this point.
Yeah, it's kind of jarring to hear that so bluntly. Like, whoa, okay, no pressure or anything.
But see, that's the thing. It's not about blame.
You're right.
It's about empowerment, recognizing that we have agency.
I like that. It's like, instead of feeling like things are just happening to us, we remember that we actually have the ability to shape our own reality.
Precisely.
Okay, so how do we go from feeling stuck like a spectator in our own lives to actually taking control?
Right.
The article seems to zero in on two main things: education and consistent action.
Right.
But what does that look like in practical terms, for the average person trying to make a change?
Well, first, when this piece talks about education, it's not just about formal schooling or degrees, it's broader than that.
Oh, interesting.
It's about actively seeking out the knowledge and skills that will empower you to make different choices.
Right. So think about it. Are there areas in your life where you feel kind of limited by a lack of knowledge or expertise?
That's a good question.
Maybe it's learning how to manage your money better so you're not stressed all the time.
Ooh, yeah, that's a big one for a lot of people.
Or maybe it's finally mastering that new software everyone at work is using so you can get ahead in your career. Or even something like, I don't know, learning a new language so you can finally take that trip to Italy you've been dreaming of.
Exactly. The possibilities are endless.
And I think what you're saying is so important because it's easy to fall into that trap of thinking, I'm too old to learn new things now.
Oh, I hear that all the time.
Right, like that ship has sailed. But this article, it's like it's throwing that whole mindset out the window.
It is. It's saying age is just a number.
And that learning, it's not a one-time thing. It's a lifelong journey, a way to constantly grow and evolve.
Couldn't agree more. But then, of course, comes the hard part, the consistent action. This is where so many people, well, they trip up.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because it's not enough to just have a burst of motivation or get all inspired, right? You got to translate that into daily habits, routines.
Like actually doing the thing.
Yeah.
Day after day.
Exactly. And this article, it's a huge advocate for taking small steps, but consistently.
So instead of trying to completely overhaul your entire life in one fell swoop.
Which can be overwhelming.
So overwhelming. It's saying pick one or two areas where you really want to see improvement. And then just commit to taking small, manageable actions every single day. Like, what could that look like? Give me an example.
Sure. It could be as simple as spending just 15 minutes learning a new skill.
Okay, 15 minutes, I can do that.
Or going for a 30-minute walk to clear your head and get some exercise.
Yeah. Or even just, making a conscious effort to be more present and mindful when you're interacting with other people.
All of those things, they might seem small.
But they add up over time.
They do.
And this is where setting clear, achievable goals becomes so important, wouldn't you say, to kind of keep you on track.
I completely agree. The article doesn't dive deep into specific goal-setting methods or anything, but we can pull from other sources. Have you ever heard of SMART goals?
Oh, of course. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Classic. Such a great way to make sure your goals are more than just, vague ideas floating around in your head.
Absolutely. So you take those SMART goals, and then the trick is to break them down even further, right, into smaller, bite-sized actions that you can easily fit into your daily routine.
Makes it less daunting that way, too.
Exactly. So you're more likely to actually stick with it.
One thing that really struck me about this article is that it doesn't shy away from tough love. Like at one point, it basically says, if you're unhappy but not changing, you're choosing to stay unhappy.
Ooh, yeah, that's a powerful statement.
It's kind of like a wake-up call, isn't it?
It is. It's a challenge to stop complaining, to stop making excuses, and to step into a place of personal responsibility.
Really?
It's like, okay, if you're not happy with your current situation, what concrete steps are you actually taking to change it?
It's a good question to ask ourselves. And I think one of the biggest things the article points to as an obstacle is social media. It's so easy to get sucked into that endless scroll.
Oh, tell me about it. Hours can just disappear.
I know, right? And it's like we're constantly comparing ourselves to others, feeling inadequate.
And forgetting to live our own lives.
Exactly. It's all about becoming the main character in your own life, as the article says.
I love that concept. So empowering.
It is. But it can also be a little abstract.
Yeah.
So how do we actually make that happen? Like, what does being the main character look like day to day?
Well, I think it starts with shifting your focus inward.
Yeah.
Really taking the time to understand yourself. What are your values? What truly brings you joy? What kind of impact do you want to have on the world?
Yeah, those are big questions.
They are. But once you have some clarity on those things, then you can start making choices that align with your own unique path, rather than trying to live up to someone else's expectations or script.
It's about tuning out all the noise and really honing in on what matters most to you.
Absolutely. And then, like we talked about before, taking consistent action to turn that vision into a reality.
It's a journey, not a destination, right?
It is. And it requires self-awareness, a willingness to experiment, and the resilience to course correct when things inevitably go off track.
Because they will, at some point.
They will. But you know what? The potential rewards, a life that feels truly authentic and fulfilling.
That's worth it.
It's totally worth the effort.
You know, so much of what we've been talking about today really comes down to taking ownership. Ownership of our choices, ownership of our goals, ownership of our lives.
You said it.
It's realizing that we have way more control than we often give ourselves credit for.
Exactly. And this article's message, it's so powerful. 2025 is yours to own. So what's one small step you can take today to start writing your own story?
That's a great question for everyone listening to think about. And that's it for our deep dive today. Thanks for joining us.
It's been a pleasure. See you next time.